Koneru and Divya Deshmukh navigate the complexities of the English opening symmetrical variation 4 knights variation in this Fide Women's Grand Prix to lakhs 2425 Pune Round 3 Showdown. On c4. Knight f6. Knight f3. On c5. Knight c3. This position is typical of English opening symmetrical variation 4 knights variation. Knight c6. On g3. On g6. Bishop g2. On d5. On takes d5. Knight takes d5. On h4. Bishop g7. On h5. Bishop f5. Knight g5. Threatening bishop takes d5. Knight db4 played by Divya Deshmukh. Divya Deshmukh wants to play bishop c2. On a3. Bishop takes d1 and dominate the board. On d3 played by Koneru. Koneru might go for on a3. On h6. On takes b4. On takes g5. On takes c5. Rook takes h5. Rook takes h5. On takes h5. Bishop takes g5 and increase their advantage significantly. Knight d4 played by Divya Deshmukh. Divya Deshmukh considers playing knight dc to check. King f1. Knight takes a1 and take decisive advantage. King castled kingside played by Koneru. On h6 it is novelty move. Threatening pawn takes g5. Knight ge4 played by Koneru. Koneru is aiming to play pawn takes g6. Bishop takes g6. Knight takes c5 and sees the initiative. Rook c8 played by Divya Deshmukh. Pawn takes g6. Bishop takes g6. On a3. Threatening pawn takes b4. Knight a6 played by Divya Deshmukh. On e3. Threatening pawn takes d4. Knight c6 played by Divya Deshmukh. Knight d5. King castled kingside. Knight f4. King h7. Bishop d2. On e5. Threatening pawn takes f4. Knight takes g6 played by Koneru. On takes g6. Queen b1. Koneru intends to play on b4. Knight e7. On takes c5. Knight takes c5. Knight takes c5. Rook takes c5. Queen takes b7 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Knight e7 played by Divya Deshmukh. Rook c1. Queen b6. On b4. Threatening pawn takes c5. On takes b4 played by Divya Deshmukh. Rook takes c8. Rook takes c8. On takes b4. Knight d5. Knight g5 check. On takes g5. Bishop takes d5. Knight c7. Threatening knight takes d5. Queen c2 played by Koneru. Rook d8. Threatening knight takes d5. Bishop e4 played by Koneru. Koneru intends to play King g2. Knight e8. Rook h1 check. Bishop h6. Queen c3. Queen e6. Bishop takes b7. Knight f6. On b5, and seize the initiative. Knight d5 played by Divya Deshmukh. Queen c4. Threatening bishop takes d5. Knight f6 played by Divya Deshmukh. King g2. Rook d7. Queen c8. Queen d8. Threatening queen takes c8. Queen takes d8 played by Koneru. Rook takes d8. Bishop takes b7. Rook takes d3. Bishop e1. Rook d7. Threatening rook takes b7. Bishop c6 played by Koneru. Threatening bishop takes d7. Rook f7 played by Divya Deshmukh. Rook a5. Threatening rook takes e5. Rook c7 played by Divya Deshmukh. Threatening rook takes c6. On b5 played by Koneru. Koneru is preparing to play. Bishop b4. Rook f7. Bishop c5. Knight g4. On e4. Bishop f8. Bishop takes a7 and seize the initiative. Bishop f8 played by Divya Deshmukh. Bishop c3. Threatening bishop takes e5. Bishop d6 played by Divya Deshmukh. On f4. Threatening pawn takes e5. Knight g4 played by Divya Deshmukh. King f3. Knight h2 check. King g2. Threatening pawn takes e5. Knight g4 played by Divya Deshmukh. King f3. Knight h2 check. King e4. Threatening pawn takes e5. Pawn takes f4 played by Divya Deshmukh. King d5. Threatening king takes d6. Bishop f8 played by Divya Deshmukh. Pawn takes f4. Pawn takes f4. Pawn takes f4. Rook f7. Bishop d4. Bishop h6. King e6. Threatening king takes f7. King g8 played by Divya Deshmukh. Bishop takes a7. Bishop takes f4. Bishop c5. Koneru is preparing to play. Rook a8 check. King g7. Bishop d4 check, and take decisive advantage. Rook f5 played by Divya Deshmukh. Threatening rook takes c5. Bishop d4 played by Koneru. King h7. Bishop e4. Pause the video and find the best move for Divya Deshmukh. Knight f3 is the correct move because Bishop takes f3. King h6. Bishop d5. Bishop c7. Rook a7. Bishop b8. Still Divya Deshmukh is losing. Let's proceed to the main game. Bishop e4. Koneru is preparing to play. Rook a7 check. King h6. Bishop takes f5 and establish a winning position. Rook h5 turns the tide in the opponent's favor. Played by Divya Deshmukh. Rook a8. Divya Deshmukh fought hard but ultimately had to concede defeat.